students, welcome to Learner's Planet, our problem solving session 6 of carbon and its compounds. In our previous session we were solving questions related to ethanol, about its IUPAC nomenclature and also about the chemical properties. I hope you have practiced more questions on it. In this session, I will be discussing few questions related to acids. So now let's start with our first question here. It is, what is the IUPAC name of these compounds, right? So what will be the IUPAC name of A, students? First of all, for writing IUPAC names, what we need is, from where we have to go, we have to first find out how many carbon atoms are there. Now I'll write the structure again, that is, it is CH3, CH2, CH2 and COOH. So what do we need? What we want first is the number of carbon atoms, and we know that the carboxylic group is always present at the terminal position. So it should be assigned which number? 1. So it is 2, 3 and 4. Now in this case, how many carbon atoms are there? There are 4 carbon atoms. So what will be the root word here? It would be but, right? What type of bond is present between the carbon atoms? It is a single bond. So it should be N. Okay? And what is the group present here? It is the acid or the oic group. So it is butanoic acid. Right? So you try to name these compounds. What you need is the root word. Secondly, the primary suffix, to find out a primary suffix which tells what type of bond is present there, and the functional group. Okay? Now if I take the second one, that is B. How many carbon atoms are there? There are 3 carbon atoms. So what would be the root word, students? It would be prop. I should write the structure again. That is, it is CH3, CH2 and COOH. How many carbon atoms? 3. So it should be prop. Right? Single bonds between the carbon atoms. So it should be N. And what is the group here? Carboxylic acid. So it is oic acid. So this is propanoic acid. Okay? Likewise, if I write the structure like this, C4, or I'll take some different number here, it is C6, H13, COOH. What will be its name, students? It should be, you know this, we are counting the carboxylic carbon also with the main chain. So it should be hexanoic acid. No, it should be heptanoic acid, because this is 6 plus 1, 7. So it should be heptanoic acid. Right? So it should be hept. So this is your IUPAC name of acids. Now let's take up our next question here. Yeah. Why ethanoic acid is also called glacial acetic acid? Why it is called as glacial acetic acid also? Because what happens that when it freezes, I'll mark it as A and B. So when ethanoic acid is cooled, what will happen? It sets up into ice. Ethanoic acid is cooled. What will happen? It freezes to form colorless ice like solid. Right? Now this colorless ice like solid appears like glacier. So acetic acid or ethanoic acid is called glacial acetic acid. Okay? Now moving to our next question, what it is? What is the color given by dilute ethanoic acid on universal indicator paper? Do you remember what is this universal indicator? It not only shows the pH, but it not only shows that whether the substance is acid or a base. It also tells about the pH. Okay, so your ethanoic acid shows orange color. On universal indicator paper. Now orange color, when the one which is the most acidic, like HC, concentrated HCl, it shows red color, pH 1. Okay. Whereas it is showing orange color, the pH is 4. Okay. So your glacial or the dilute ethanoic acid shows orange color on universal indicator paper, and which indicates what pH? 4. Okay. Now let's move to our next question here, students. It is why HCl, that is the hydrochloric acid, is a strong acid, whereas acetic acid is a weak acid. Why is it so? Your HCl is what? It is a mineral acid, right? HCl is a mineral acid, and your acetic acid or CH3COOH is an organic acid. Okay. Now if I'll dissolve HCl in water or HCl solution, what will happen? It will completely dissociate and will form H plus Cl minus ions. So whatever is the concentration of HCl, say I am taking 2 molar HCl, how much H ion I will be getting? I will be getting 2 moles of H plus only. That is, it is completely dissociated, right? That is, it is completely dissociated. Then what about CH3COOH? CH3COOH undergoes partial dissociation. Okay, so this is the partial dissociation, that is, it is a reversible process. And what are we getting? We are getting CH3COO minus plus of H plus. That is, what happens? What do you mean by these two? That is, CH3COOH is dissociating into CH3COO minus plus of H plus, and this CH3COO minus form will react again with H plus, or will combine with H plus and will form what? It will form CH3COOH. Now, why am I explaining you this dissociation? What is the need for this? The need is that here, see, your HCl has completely dissociated and given out all the H plus ions. But look at this case. What is happening? There is partial dissociation. That is, once this H plus is formed, it will again combine and give you the acetic acid molecule. So, as the result of which, what will happen? The concentration of H plus in acetic acid solution will be less, and your pH depends on what? Depends on the concentration of H plus only. So what will be the answer of this question, students? HCl undergoes complete dissociation, right, whereas acetic acid undergoes partial ionization or dissociation. That is why the concentration of H plus in HCl is very high, whereas in acetic acid is very less. Understood? Now let's take up our next question. It is, what are the products obtained in the given reaction? Now, what is this reaction? It is a reaction of ethanoic acid with sodium hydroxide. So, what are the products you are expecting? It is an acid reacting with a base. So, what should be the product? The product should be a salt and water. That is CH3COOH plus of NaOH. And what will be our product, students? It is CH3COONA plus of H2O. Okay? So this is what? An acid reacting with a base and giving you what? Salt and water. Now, what is the name of this salt? That is CH3COONA. You know, this CH3COO minus, this ion is called acetate ion. Acetate ion. So what will be the name of this compound of this salt? It is sodium acetate. Right? I can take any other acid. Say if I am taking an acid like C2H5COOH, if it is reacting with sodium hydroxide, what all are the products I'll get? Now here, what is this C2H5COOH? What will be its name, students? It has 3 carbon atoms, so it should be propanoic acid. Now if it's reacting with sodium hydroxide, again I'll get a salt, that is C2H5COONA plus of H2O. That is what it is, sodium propanoate. Right? This is sodium propanoate. This is the way how this reaction goes on. Now let's take up the next question here. What are the products obtained in the given reaction, that is C2H5COOH plus Na2CO3? This is what it is, a carbonate. And you know, this is also used as test for acetic acid or any acid. Why? Because it gives out carbon dioxide. So your C2H5COOH reacts with Na2CO3, giving what? C2H5COONA plus of H2O plus of CO2. Okay. Now here what is happening is this carbon dioxide gas is evolved. Right? I can take any other acid here. I can take C4H9COOH. What will be its name? How many carbon atoms? 4 plus 1, 5. So it should be pentanoic acid. It will react with sodium carbonate, that is Na2CO3, and will give what? It will give C4H9 COONA plus of H2O plus of CO2. That is, what will be the name of this compound? Which compound? The compound formed here, it would be sodium pentanoate. Okay, so what is the name of this? C4H9COONA. It is sodium pentanoate. Right? Now let's take up our next question. It is, what are the products obtained in the given reaction, that is C3H7COOH. What will be the name of this compound, students? How many carbon atoms are there? There are 4 carbon atoms. So it should be what? Butanoic acid. And what is this NaHCO3? It is sodium bicarbonate. So what will be the products obtained? C3H7COOH एक minute. So what will be the name of this compound? C3H7COOH. It would be butanoic acid, right? Now this is reacting with sodium bicarbonate, that is NaHCO3. And what is the product we are getting here? We will be getting C3H7, that is C3H7 plus of carbon dioxide plus of H2O. So students, this can be used as a test for acid. Because why am I telling you this is that alcohols, say if you need to distinguish between alcohols and acids, right? Now they both react with sodium, forming their sodium salts. But alcohols do not react with Na2CO3 or NaHCO3, whereas acids react with Na2CO3 as well as NaHCO3. Now why am I telling this is we can use it as a test, because when acids react with sodium carbonate or bicarbonate, what is obtained is it is the effervescence of carbon dioxide is obtained. Right? So this can be used as our distinguishing test. Now let's take up our next question here. Yeah, this is what are the products obtained in the given reaction? So what is this reaction, students? First of all, tell me what is the name of this compound, that is C4H9COOH. How many carbon atoms are there? 5 carbon atoms. So it should be what acid? Pentanoic acid. And it is reacting with what? It is reacting with ethanol, that is C2H5OH. And the reaction is taking place in the presence of H2SO4. What will be the product? We will get an ester, right? You must be remembering what I told was that there is an acid reacting with an alcohol. So what happens that the OH part of acid is removed out and H part of alcohol, and they'll combine and they'll form what? RCOOR plus of H2O. Right? So what will be the product here? It would be C4H9COO C2H5. So what will be its name? Its name would be butyl propanoate, or it would be ethyl butyl ester. Okay? So we are getting an ester here. Nomenclature of esters is not in your syllabus, so I'll not go into deep details of it. Fine? So this would be a product. You can write it as the this thing. I'll write the name, that would be better. C4H9 COOC2H5. The name would be ethyl, sorry students, it would be ethyl pentanoate. Remember, this side is taken as alkyl and the rest is taken as OH combined. Say for example, I am telling you C3H7COOCH3. What would be its name? It would be methyl butanoate. Okay? Now let's take up our next question here. It is, what are the products What are the products obtained in the given reaction? It is what? What will be its name, students? It is ethyl butanoate. Right? Now this C3H7COOC2H5 is hydrolyzed in the presence of sodium hydroxide. And what we will get? We will get our parent acid and alcohol. So which would have been the parent acid? It would have been till here. So what will be the name? C3H7COOH, that is butanoic acid plus C2H5OH, that is ethyl alcohol. Okay? So whenever we hydrolyze this thing ester with base, what we get is we get the parent acid and the alcohol. The parent acid is obtained in the form of its salt, because we are taking here the sodium, right? So it is the salt. And what will be the name of this salt, students? It would be sodium butanoate. Right? And what would have been the parent acid here? Butanoic acid. Right? So these are the products. Remember that. It was my mistake. I'm sorry for that. Ester, when hydrolyzed in the presence of sodium hydroxide, we get its sodium salt. I'm so sorry for that. Let's take up the next question here. Yeah, it is differentiate between ethanol and ethanoic acid. So how can we differentiate? We can differentiate on the basis of their physical as well as the chemical properties, right? So this is ethanol and ethanoic acid. Okay, now this, if I talk of its action on litmus paper, ethanol, it is neither acid nor a base, so it will have no action. Whereas ethanoic acid, it will turn blue litmus to red. Red? Now ethanol, as I have told you, this doesn't give reaction with Na2CO3 or NaHCO3. Okay, so it is not giving reaction with Na2CO3 or NaHCO3, no reaction. Whereas ethanoic acid, what it is giving? It is giving brisk effervescence with Na2CO3 or NaHCO3. So these are the two differences between ethanol and ethanoic acid, right? So your this thing, if I talk of the smell, so ethanol has got, it has a pleasant smell. I can't say it has a pleasant smell, but it has a different smell from ethanoic acid. Ethanoic acid has a smell of vinegar. Okay. Now let's take up the next question here. Okay. So this was the last question of our session, and I'll conclude this session, students. So in this session we discussed about the questions related to assets, and in the next session we will discuss few more questions, or I think these are the sufficient number of questions, and you can solve the quizzes or more questions related to this topic. Thank you very much for listening patiently.